That was Katrina. That was George Bush's gift to New Orleans by not having them prepared for the breaking of the levee. So that's how they filmed the movie. Oh, one more thing. You know what? The movie is friggin' fabulous, but it's fabulous because I'd read the book. Now, the movie and the book are exactly the same, except for one thing. If you don't know that one thing, the movie makes no sense at all. So the movie will make absolutely no sense to you if you don't realize that they left one paragraph of the book out. And what that is all through the movie, many times you'll see the father teaching his son how to shoot himself in the head. And of course that kind of, wakens your curiosity. Why is he doing that? And I mean, it's a difficult scene to watch, and you don't want to watch it with your 10-year-old. Because he's going to ask, why is Daddy teaching him to shoot himself in the mouth? But you won't understand it if you watch the movie. You'll barely understand it, and it really does hurt because the movie then makes half as much sense. If you read the book, there is one paragraph in the book that's not in the movie. And that is when they're hiding, he and his son, it's just a man and his son, and you see that scary friggin' truck come out of the tunnel. And you see the bad guys ganged around the truck. Behind the truck, they had a series of telephone poles and young boys strapped to the telephone poles, tied, handcuffed, whatever. And those are the men's, what Cormac called catamites. Catamites. I had to look it up, just like every time you read Cormac McCarthy, you always have to have a thesaurus or a dictionary with you to find out what these words mean, because he has a vocabulary par excellence. But once you look up catamites, oh my God, I see. Oh, now I see why Dad is teaching his son to shoot himself rather than be caught by the bad guys. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Enough for movie reviews. So we've talked about preparing your family for seeing things that they never thought possible, and right going into that, right with that, is prepare for civil unrest. It's coming. It is coming, and in fact, it may be here. Depends how you look at it. I mentioned there was a crime inside the market that I was just in just now. I went to the market just now to get some staples that I needed to cook my dinner. This is the same market where there was a pickpocket that grabbed a lady's purse last week. And it was a lady in my then group that I've since been thrown out of because I'm too pessimistic. I just talk about this thing like it's going to be really, really bad. And a lot of the people there said, why are you so pessimistic? Come on, not a big deal. It's just the flu. Yeah, well, guess who has the last laugh? So prepare, and what that means to you is your business. To me, I think that means that you have an obligation to your family to prepare for bad people coming to the door and demanding your food. What does that exactly entail? Well, that's up to you. But it's not a secret. There's been a run on gun shops, and Newsom has closed some down, is my understanding. But there is a emergency lawsuit by the NRA and a bunch of other people saying, hey, we need guns, dude. There's going to be trouble very quickly. Please let us go out there and buy. Well, there you go. Buy a gun. And so we'll see what happens with that lawsuit. Now, one of the problems is I was filed, I believe, in Los Angeles Superior Court, and I just got a notice saying they've closed the courthouse. I don't think I've ever seen that except 9/11. So the courthouse is closed. I have volunteered. I don't know if they'll take me back. There's a 65-year-old age limit, but I have volunteered. So if they need me, they can have me full-time. But we'll see if they call me up and say, Glenn, come down here and be Judge Glenn. Okay, I'll do that. We'll see. And you have to make your family safe. Now, safe can be different things to different people. Safe to you might be, I'm going to get enough firepower that whoever comes up that stairway gets badly hurt. To you, it might be, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to drive somewhere so far away that there will be nobody there amounting to a threat. Safe to you might be a combination of those, where you say, I'm going to go to one of the nicest hotels in the nicest section of a very rich town, and I'm going to be rest assured that they will have individuals there with guns and security guards and security fences and things like that to keep bad people out, and we'll just spend the vacation money on staying in a nice hotel room where we don't expect there to be trouble. But I expect there to be trouble almost everywhere. Okay, that's one gloomy topic, and I got to tell you, it's actually about 6 pages long, the notes, but I'm not going to go into them. That's going to be a separate show because I don't want to bum everybody out. Last of the 10, and I have to tell you, as I drove over to get the groceries, I thought of another 10 that we could go over, but that'll be next week's show, if we're here next week. Stop listening to the White House. Do not listen to the White House. Everything they say is a lie. For the first time in history, I've never heard this before, NPR in, I think it's Seattle, has said we are not going to broadcast the president's speeches because they're just too full of lies and misinformation. You ever heard of that? NPR saying this guy lies so much we're not going to broadcast his speeches, and instead they broadcast Cuomo or Newsom, who you can trust, and they know what they're doing, and a lot of us like to listen to Dr. James Campbell. Of course, he's talking about England and what's going on in England, but it does give us a little sense of somebody's watching the store, and he gives us numbers. But remember, all of the numbers you hear pertaining to the U.S., and Dr. Campbell goes over this, all of them are lies. Every number you hear about how many cases there are, how many deaths there are, they're complete lies handed to you by the lying Trump administration, because what they do, this is how they manufacture and manipulate information, by not having tests available, and they don't, and then the tests that they sent out were missing parts. That way nobody got tested, and they can say, hey, look at this, nobody tested positive. Well, nobody tested anything. You didn't send out any working tests. So, seriously, I think right then and there he should have been, for doing that one thing, he should be impeached or worse. That's it. That's good. Those are your 10 things that you can do. I'm going to go over them real quick again in case you didn't have a pen. Keep your feet clean. That's really important. Keep your shoes outside. Don't wear your shoes inside. And once inside, make sure to clean those feet, because there's some really terrible stuff on the ground. You don't want to bring it into your home where you're going to be spending the next 2 months. Your teeth need to be clean, free from all the gunk, from all that trail mix. Get it out of there, because we do not want a toothache in this no doctor world. Keep your body clean, all the cuts you have, all the little blisters, things like that. Make sure that they have the Bactricin on them or whatever that you have that is a antibiotic or antiseptic. Please make sure to keep it well, not oiled, but whatever, because we have to make sure that it doesn't develop into anything requiring a doctor. Do not pray. Pray gives you the feeling that you've accomplished something, which is bad in and of itself. And pray makes you think that you can forego doing something like, I don't need to check on the kids tonight. I prayed. I'm sure God's watching. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work, period. You need to check up on the kids. You need to do everything yourself. Mr. God is not going to do it for you. If he were, there wouldn't be all those people dead. Don't you think they all prayed when they got sick and were drowning in their own fluids? You don't think they all sat there and said, God, please, I'm so miserable. Please stop this. And what happened? They died. So if you need proof that it doesn't work, it's right in front of you. The only question is, are you intelligent enough to see it? Food safety, refrigeration. Remember, you have to keep your food refrigerated, and you have to look at it, smell it, look for any sign of spoilage. If there's any sign of spoilage, unfortunately, in these times, you have to toss it, because we cannot take the risk that you eat something that is bad and you get food poisoning because there's nobody to make you well. Food safety from deliveries is the shining note, the good note. It looks like that's very safe, as is when you're in the market and the person cuts you off a piece of cheese. Even if they breathe on your cheese, it looks like you cannot catch the disease that way. So that's some good news. Prepare your family for seeing things that you've never thought possible. This is 8. View the road if you're an adult. That's what's coming or may be coming. And that's what you'd better prepare for right now. And how to prepare, we'll get into in another show. It might actually be the very next show. It just depends how many people are really, really resentful and abhorrent to the idea of a show getting into the details of what happens when society falls apart. Number 9, society falls apart. Be prepared for civil unrest. So have your radios working, have your sources of news working, have extra batteries, have battery-run sources for your radios. I think it's too much to ask for battery-run computers, but if you were one of those smart people who bought at Fry's or wherever, you bought computers, battery backups, great. Make sure those things are topped up. And 10, stop listening to the White House. Listen instead to Cuomo or Newsom. They will give you the facts and the honest situation as it is. Do not listen to the White House. There's not one person there other than Anthony Fauci who can be trusted. Why he's still there, I don't know. But because he can still be trusted, you better bet your bottom dollar that he'll be gone by the end of this week. In other words, by April 2nd or 3rd, he will be fired by I Only Lie. And if you get in the way of me lying, you're fired, Trump. That's it for this week. I'm Glenn Fleetwood. I want to thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week for the End of the World podcast.